finally arrived. I ordered a Canon R5 Mark II on launch day. Now, it was a complete nightmare to pick one up in Canada. Most of the Canadian websites weren't even offering pre-order at actual launch. It took several hours before the first one really popped up, and that's who ended up getting my business. Now, if you were in the US, probably an easier time. Places like B&H and local shops had the pre-orders up pretty much in advance. So, hey, hopefully if you were looking for one, you got your hands on one. Otherwise, let me show you what's inside. Per usual, a super thick book in a billion languages we'll probably never look at. You can actually get a digital version of the actual manual, which is probably more useful. A warranty card. Canon actually released a new type of battery for this camera, the LPE6P. Now, it is the same form factor as the previous batteries, but it has this white little label showing the new LPE6P numbering on it. This is the previous version. You can see the same form. It's got that little, it's got the holographic on it, and the previous version before that, all pretty much the same. So I actually was using both the old batteries and the more recent one in my Canon R5, which we're currently filming on. And I actually even bought a fresh one about a month ago, so I was a little annoyed when these new ones came out. They're the exact same price point, so you might as well get the new ones. If you're getting a Canon R5 Mark II, you're not really going to save anything, and it unlocks some more features, which you may or may not use. But either way, might as well get the new batteries. The Nikon Z6 III actually released without a charger, oddly enough. But alas, Canon has provided you with a charger. I now have 3. My Canon R5 had that and a couple other models, so it's handy when you're traveling to charge multiple at the same time. We have the brand new strap, EOS R5 Mark II. These things always get so dirty. I've been tempted to just use a generic one, but I'll probably put this on. All right, what's next? I believe this is a very high quality USB-C cable. And I saw this in an unboxing someone else did. It is a cable holder that you can attach to the side of the camera to help have your cables from, I guess, bending right out of the ports. So I assume you just kind of attach it. We'll try it out in a second. And here we go. Whew, the reveal. This is the new Canon R5 Mark II. Seems pretty much like the same form factor. There's a couple different modifications from the original R5. You'll notice on the bottom here there's actually a vent. So the back of the camera looks like it has a gap, and the side here vents out the heat. Same with along the side here. If you really look closely, it's hard to see on camera, but it's basically just a gap behind the LCD, and it allows heat to vent out. So I was a little concerned when they were talking about this, as I thought maybe it affects weather sealing, but I don't think we're going to have an issue, as it doesn't look like it actually exposes any real components. It's just allowing some heat to dissipate a little easier. New to this edition is this top electronic horseshoe. So they have a very nice weather sealed casing there. It's actually pretty tough to get off, I'm told. There's a little button you got to press, then you pull. Probably going to take some getting used to, but very nice. So if you have some like modern DJI Mic 2, I believe, is able to use it. bunch of other different microphone type accessories often have it. So yeah, looking forward to testing that out. We have a newer flash I'm going to test with it. So, I mean, I'm sure it works great. But yeah, we'll test these together. The articulating screen looks to be pretty much the same as it was previously. I know some people have complained that it actually doesn't fully flatten out when you pull it out completely, so it looks like it stays slightly ajar. Not a big deal, never noticed it on the old one. A lot of the time I would be shooting in this orientation anyway, so no big deal from my point of view. On the inside here, the back has just like a slightly different, I don't even know what this is, if it's like a heatsink or something, but there's this little circular looking insert there that's kind of interesting. They have changed where the on-off switch is on this. So there is off, lock, and on. Not 100% sure what lock does. Yeah, that's going to take some getting used to. This used to be the switch. The switch was on this side, and it had the option of going on and off. So the on and off switch now is between video and photo, which is pretty useful because I found you used to have to press in mode, then info to switch, and it took a little time to actually switch between video and photo mode. I used to have a Canon 7D Mark II, and it had the video photo switch, and it's a lot easier to go between modes. So that is a nice improvement. It's going to take some getting used to having the on-off switch on the other side, but not a big deal. Other than that, trigger and most of the buttons are in the same place. I did notice that the nib, or the little thumbstick, has changed in style. So rather than being kind of like a flat little thumbstick, it looks to be slightly rounded, kind of like a PlayStation controller would be. The scroll wheel seems pretty much the same, rate menu, all the other buttons. Yeah. Feel of it is just as good as it used to be. They have changed it where there is now a light on the front, so you can see when you're recording it's going to flash red. Huge noticeable difference in the size of the EVF. This thing is massive. Look at the size of that. It might be hard to tell on screen, but it looks at least 50% larger from the previous size. So the thing is going to be really nice to look through, and I've heard a lot of people saying that it is a huge improvement. Part of the reason it's so big is they added in the eye detect from the R3. So curious if that's going to help. This weekend I'm going to do some wildlife photography as a workshop, and this could be helpful in spotting more wildlife, or getting better shots, I should say. Other than that, the front has pretty much the same button layout, release, cable release, and that's a custom button. I actually never configured it on my R5. So maybe on this one I'll have some sort of mode switching. I'd really love a custom video mode switching where I could have slow-mo on one versus regular video on the other. A friend of mine said he used that to do something similar. That way you can do some slow-mo quickly without having to press a bunch of buttons. Similar as before, the SD card and CF Express B. Battery on the bottom. It also has the little shutters that protect the sensor, so that's nice. Some of the cameras don't have it. I think it's really handy, especially if I've been changing out in the environment, and you know, there has been the odd condition where I've had to change it where there's some slight rain. Now that I have two R5 bodies, I don't think I'll need to switch lenses as much as when I'm going to an event and I need double lenses. I'm probably just gonna bring both cameras. Okay, let's power this on. So I've got previous battery since the new one isn't charged. The following functions are restricted due to incompatible battery. Movie recording, network functions. So there's a couple features that you're not going to have if you're using the old battery. I don't think it's going to be that big a deal for someone like myself, since they're mostly video mode functions that I'm unlikely to use in reality. But yeah, looks like by default eye control is actually set to off, which is interesting. So I wonder if they just don't think people are going to need that. First thing that when you activate it, you're going to notice it's going to ask you to configure date and time, location, that kind of thing. The menu is noticeably different from the original R5. So we're just going to scroll through it. You can see they've done a lot of subcategories now, which is kind of interesting. Lots of different video functions, audio functions, all that fun stuff is all in here. The menus are broken down by video and photo. So if you're in video mode, you're going to get different options, and that was the same on the previous one. What is handy, the custom menu returns. I actually found this really useful. A lot of the stuff I used, like time-lapsing and other subject detect, I actually put all into the green custom menu, which really makes quick editing on the fly rather than having to hunt through menus. So something to set up if you also use a Canon camera. They all have custom menus. So you're probably wondering, what does the sensor look like? An exposed sensor. Look at that. Look at that beauty. Trigger warning? Trigger warning? So this is with the horseshoe light mounted. It gets very heavy, but you're probably used to it if you're using something similar. I have a newer Z2C on there right now. This would pretty much be my event light setup. Probably with a 15 to 35 or the 70 to 200 on there. I have a 50 millimeter prime as well. But yeah, pretty good. I'm excited to try it out. On the side here, there's additionally the ability to screw this on, and that will help with cable management for a microphone. Now, I usually put an L bracket on my camera, so this isn't going to be too useful. But really, this is just to support cables and help you with cable management. So I doubt a lot of people are going to use this who probably use cables. And there you have it. This is a Canon R5 Mark II unboxing. Looks like a great camera. I am very curious to use it. So I have an event this weekend, going to take it with me. And I'll let you know how photos compare between the R5 and the R5 II. Anyway, stay tuned for more videos where we're going to test out the R5 and show you a couple other different things we've got going on. And see you in the next one.